All right, good morning, everybody, and once again, happy Friday. It's Breakout Bag Lunch. Today is December 26th, 2025, the day after Christmas. On an unrelated note, I hope everybody had a great Christmas, had some great gifts, enjoyed time with friends and family. I know I did. Since it is the day after, though, and market is open, I decided it was time to do a little bit more back testing. And that brings me to today's results, which are $1,380 loss. So I want to take some time to review the trades that I took and touch on some topics and do some brainstorming to figure out how I can prevent this from happening on a live account or a prop firm account. It's good that I've decided to do this back testing now, by the way, as you can see. So let's get into it. All right. I took, I believe, 4 trades today. 2 trades on gold and 1 trade on ES. I'll just start with the ES trades first. I'm gonna make this bigger so it's easier to see. Alright, I think that's good. I'm gonna minimize these two. Alright. And the first trade I took was break and retest. We had this opening range break here to the upside. And I had this move lower. I combine this with the Fibonacci retracements. I put the low of the Fib right here and the high up here. Then I waited for a 50% to 61.8% retracement, which we got around here. My entry was 69.86.5, which is right here. Don't think that was the worst entry, actually. Granted, this was a market order, but yeah, it just didn't work. I think the trade idea was valid, but there's just not a lot of movement in the market right now. It's right after the holidays, end of the year. Can't really expect much. So I sold that long at a loss, and I sold at 69.78.75. Oh, well, that's not too bad of an exit. Okay. After we had this down movement, we had another upside movement, and because we had a downside break of the 5-minute opening range, I decided this time to go for a short entry. And I was marking the highs and lows here. Oh, whoops, let me do this the other way. Alright, that's better. Now once we get this 50% retracement, I got in a short entry. And we spent a good amount of time in this opening range, and we had this sharp move down. My profit target was here. It's at this 6971.9 level. My idea was that it would be one range lower than the opening range. If you draw a line here, you can see that. Alright, notice how the distance between the low of the opening range and this area here, oops, right here, is about the same distance as the high and the low of the opening range. That was my idea. We did get this move lower first, but then now we have this sideways action. Now, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just set some limit order and a stop loss, or set a limit order and a stop loss, and just walk away and see what happens. But I decided to exit here, and so I guess this wasn't a bad trade. It wasn't super profitable either. If I held and price hit this price target, then I would say that would have been a good trade. And yeah, as I'm speaking, it does look like the downtrend is continuing. So we'll see what happens. It's just that at 11 o'clock, well, I would really say at around 11:30 a.m. noon Eastern time, that's when the market is really slow. Those were the ES trades. Now, in terms of gold, this is where the big losses came in. This green area is where I had identified a demand zone. So my idea was to buy here. It was like at the low of the zone to get a good entry. The problem here was that I exit too early. This trade actually would have worked out wonderfully, as you can see, and I probably would have been up on a day. But my thought process was, well, price goes significantly below this this demand zone, then we're probably in a strong downtrend. And if that were the case, then I wouldn't want to have long entries. But in this case, I would say it's really just a matter of not having a good stop loss. Probably a stop loss that was just too tight. The second trade I tried taking, or second trade I took, was like a bearish bounce from this retracement area. We did get a little bit of downward movement, or should I say 1 minute candle, which isn't much at all. But the uptrend just kept continuing, and you have to cover shorts here at this at 4561.5. If you look here, we actually did have a break and retest trade that I could have taken based on the high of the 5-minute opening range, but at this point, I'm really looking for like a 50% retracement of a move for me to feel comfortable getting into a long entry in this case. So I would have looked for an entry in this area rather than up here. So the two things I want to talk about in this video as a reflection based on today's results are: one, conflicting trades, and two, what to do during downtrend, or I guess what to do when there's just not a lot of action in the market, how to handle drawdowns effectively. So if you see in the gold trade, there was a conflict here, because like, you had this potential bullish bounce based on this demand zone, but you also had like a potential reversal zone based on 5-minute opening range, breakout, and fib retracement. So I need to figure out what to do in cases when you have like a conflict where one strategy will tell you to go long, another strategy will tell you to go short. I guess most traders would say that you should probably just should probably just not trade in a case when you have conflicts. But and that's something I'm going to think about in more detail. Second thing I wanted to mention, was what to do when you're facing a drawdown or when you have a red day. Because I don't think my trade execution was horrible today. It wasn't the best. However, it's normal for there to be times when a trading plan just doesn't work as expected. And some people will say, well, if you have 2 losses for the day, then you're done trading. And that does make sense, but I feel like there are a lot of cases when you can start to deal with losses, but then make up those losses with gains. So I'm not sure if that's the best approach. Again, it's something I'm gonna have to think about and add to my trading strategy. One thing that's worth mentioning is the fact that the volume is really low today. So maybe on days when there's lower volume, I can size down and possibly adjust my profit targets and stop losses. Maybe make them tighter and just expect smaller wins throughout the day. I don't think that's a bad idea. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention, but I think that's it. As always, if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know. I'd be happy to hear them. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.